So a new poll came out as the Morning Consult poll, and it found that 49% of independents now say that Donald Trump should drop out of the race now that he is a convicted felon. And 15% of Republicans said the same thing. Now, I really got to thinking about this one, and we've talked a whole lot about how that Donald Trump needs independent voters in order to win in November. And he's got half of them already saying that he should drop out of the race. We've also talked a lot about the Republicans that showed up to vote for Nikki Haley, the people who are tired of his rhetoric. They're tired of the MAGA shtick. They want to see something different. They want to see the Republican Party return to some sort of normalcy, if that's even possible. And 15% of those people now say that he should drop out of the race. So going into November, you would think that Donald Trump would be trying to change things up. You would think that he would be trying to change his image some. You know, back when January 6th first happened, and I first watched the events of that day unfold as it was happening, and after the dust was settling, I was going, oh man, Republicans are going to be out there on an apology tour. They're going to have to. They're going to have to go out there and they're going to have to apologize for this. And they're going to have to throw Donald Trump under the bus, distance themselves from him as far as possible, because there's no way they can continue to run on this. Well, boy, was I naive. Not only did they continue to run on it, but they continue to double down with this same tired rhetoric that the January 6th people are hostages and they're victims of the system. And they were just peacefully protesting that day. They sit and gaslight us by showing us clips of someone just walking down a hallway, and they want us to believe that that's all that ever happened. Just one person walked down a hallway. I've said so many times, and I know a lot of people think I'm being sarcastic, but it's just true. I could show you a picture or a video of somebody at Dealey Plaza eating a hot dog 2 blocks away, but Kennedy still got assassinated. So it's been so tiring watching them do this, and you would think they would be trying to clean up their image and reach out to independents and undecided voters, but they're not doing that. You think they would be trying to reach out to the people in their party who has become disgruntled and try to unify their party even stronger. They haven't done that. They just continue to double down on the rhetoric, and they think everyone's going to be perfectly okay with it. And ask yourself this, is everyone going to be perfectly okay knowing, independents and moderates especially, are they going to be okay knowing that the money they send to Donald Trump would just go to help pay his legal bills? Take a look at this clip from Laura Trump, and then we're going to talk more about this.
How much of the money that is being raised, that has been raised, is going to be used to pay for the former president's legal fees?
Well, everybody has an option whenever they donate to our joint fundraising agreement to opt out of it. It is a very small percentage of the money that we take in. And so I would have to say we'll wait and see what is necessary in the future. Obviously, this has been a very costly thing, not just for Donald Trump and his campaign, but for America. The stain that this has put on our country, I think, is abominable. And we'll do whatever we need to do to ensure that the right thing happens on November 5th, because that's when the ultimate verdict will be rendered.
The only stain that has truly been put on this country is by Donald Trump and by MAGA. They're the ones that have stained this country, and they're the ones who have cost us so much because they've done nothing but make a mockery out of our court systems. They've made a mockery out of the justice system. They've made a mockery out of our presidency. Everything that they could possibly get their hands on, everything they touch, they just turn to shit. And everything they touch, they find out a way to grift off of that. So how is that going to appeal to an independent voter, 49% of which are already saying he should drop out now that he's a convicted felon? They're going to look over and they're going to see money going to help with all the problems that he created himself. I understand that every politician always says, guys, if you could just chip in a little money, help my campaign. Yes, everyone does that. But Joe Biden, when Joe Biden does that, he has been rolling up his sleeves going to work for this country. He has got a whole lot accomplished in the last couple of years, and we want to see him continue to do so. So if people chips into that, I can see it. But you're going to chip into Donald Trump. You're going to chip into that, and it's just going to go to help with the mess that he himself got himself into. And if you're an independent and moderate voter and you're still undecided, still trying to figure out which way to go, how is it going to be appealing to you to see a party that you can only be loyal to Donald Trump? Because if you're a Republican and you step out of line with Donald Trump or you tweet something they disapprove of, yeah, they're going to throw you under the bus. Take a look at this next clip of Laura Trump, and then we're going to talk more about it.
Republican Senate candidate Larry Hogan in Maryland, and again, I'm asking this in your capacity as one of the co-chairs of the entire Republican Party, and he's a popular former governor in Maryland. He wrote this right ahead of the verdict. He said, quote, regardless of the result, I urge all Americans to respect the verdict and the legal process. That is not the Republican Party line at the moment. And in fact, he was attacked by the top Trump advisor, Chris LaCivita, who wrote that he, quote, just ended your campaign, end quote. Does the Republican National Committee support Larry Hogan for Senate?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I don't support what he just said there. I think it's ridiculous. And I think anybody who's not speaking up in the face of really something that should never again have seen the light of day, a trial that would never have been brought against any other person aside from Donald Trump.
But does the RNC support his bid?
The respect of anyone. Well,
he doesn't deserve the respect of anyone?
He doesn't deserve the respect of anyone in the Republican Party at this point. And quite frankly, anybody in America, if that's the way you feel, that's very upsetting to hear that.
So are you willing to cede the Senate seat in Maryland to the Democratic Party and not support Larry Hogan?
What I'll tell you is that we, of course, want to win as a party, but that is a shame. And I think he should have thought long and hard before he said that publicly.
Are you willing to use Republican Party resources to support his bid or not? It sounds like you're saying you're not.
Well, I'll get back to you on all the specifics monetarily, but what I can tell you is that as the Republican Party co-chair, I think he should never have said something like that. I think that's ridiculous.
Okay.
You know, every time that I've ever talked with an independent voter, I always ask the question, so why are you independent? And they always have the same answer every time I've ever asked it. It's because they don't want to be affiliated with any one particular party. They want to be able to look at both sides and see which one they like the best, see which one has the best idea at that particular point in time. And I totally get that. I completely get it. I understand that you don't want to be affiliated with a political party. I myself don't either. I have voted Democrat in every major election since I turned 18. Since I was old enough to vote, I voted Democrat in every election. That's because the Democratic Party, and I admit it's got its faults. I don't agree with it on everything, but the Democratic Party has always came closer to upholding the principles that I believe in. So that's the side that I've just automatically fell toward. But I could say that if we was to have a party shift in this country and suddenly our side suddenly got some sort of cult of personality that took over it, and suddenly they were shoving their merch in my face and everyone in my party was wearing flags and waving them in the air and all this ridiculous nonsense that we see MAGA Republicans doing. If I saw my party going down that road, I would say, wait a minute, that's not me. That's not what I'm about. And I would go a different direction. So I completely understand the people that says, I don't want to be affiliated with any one party. The truth is, I don't either. It's just that that's the side I fell on because they come the closest to upholding my principles. But it's not like that over in MAGA land. If you step out of line with Donald Trump at all, they'll throw you under the bus, even if you are in agreement with them. So to the moderates and the independents out there that are still undecided and trying to figure out which way to go on this, I would say this one. If you cast your vote for Joe Biden, you're going to be casting your vote for alongside with a group of people who have a way much bigger palette than the people on the other side. I can tell you as someone who's progressive, leans to the left, when I'm talking with other progressives, liberals, whatever you want to call them, when I'm talking with people on the left side of the aisle, I find the conversation to be way more diverse. I find there to be way more difference of opinion. And there's times that we talk about things and we don't always agree. And when that happens, we walk away and we go, okay, we're going to agree to disagree on that one. I see that all the time on that side of the aisle. On the other side of the aisle, what we've clearly seen is that if you speak one ill word against Donald Trump, he will come up with a nickname for you. He will come up with a way to make fun of you and belittle you. He will find something about you to cash in on and just drive you straight into the mud. If you're not loyal 100% to Donald Trump, they will throw you under the bus every single time. So if you're an independent voter, which side do you really want to be on in this situation? Here we are in 2024. I'm not saying you have to stick with the Democratic Party for life. I'm not saying you have to be affiliated with them. I'm not saying I want to be either. I'm just simply talking about the voice of reason we should all be having right now. And that voice of reason should look at the situation and say, if I stand with these people right now at this particular time in 2024, they're reasonable people who we can agree to disagree with, who is not going to throw us under the bus if we step out of line with Joe Biden. Because if any of you wants to criticize Joe Biden, what have I said in every video? Criticize Joe Biden if you want to. We're not in a cult. Call out Joe Biden on the things you disagree with. We're not in a cult. So do you want to be aligned with people like that? Or do you want to be over here with a group of people who, if you say one word against their leader, they're going to throw you under the bus? If you're an independent or a moderate voter, I can't see how the option will be more clear, because your whole argument is you don't want to be affiliated with one party. Well, if you go over here in MAGA's land, you have to be affiliated 100% with only one man. And at the end of the day, I know you don't want that.